Today I'm going to show you how I do a bath, brush out, and sanitary trim on Cocoa the Aussie Doodle. First, what I usually like to do is I go through her with my slicker brush and my comb just to make sure she doesn't have any really big mats before I start. Since she does now come in on a 2-week schedule, sometimes we'll have to push it to 3, just depends on scheduling. She really only comes in with a few knots. Her owner brushes her really, really well at home, and they want to achieve the Brody the Golden Doodle look. And her belly is not completely shaved out, but it is a lot shorter, just to make brushing a little less of a headache. But see, right here, she's got a big one on her shoulder that I just brush out really quick. I'm going to go ahead and keep brushing her out, and then we'll get in the tub. The shampoo I chose for her today is Almond Crisp from Nature Specialties. I've really been liking this shampoo recently because I got a new perfume to go with it. I'm just going to wash her face first, and I think on her face I use Lavaderm. I like using this shampoo for all of my dogs. It just makes their face smell really nice. I even like to use this on my personal dog's face, and even after a few days it still smells really good. And with Coco having so much hair on her face, I think I wash it twice, just to ensure that I'm getting every little bit, even the little parts under her mouth where food likes to sit. Make sure and scrub those really good. With dogs like Coco having so much hair, and her hair is just getting thicker and thicker over time, you really have to make sure to pick up each layer of hair and get that shampoo all the way down to the skin, or else you're not going to get them clean. So here I'm just making sure to get her nail beds really good because her feet seem to be the thickest. Also, with the bathing system that we have, it has the shampoo, the rinse, and then the conditioner option in the little tubes you see on the left side. I have 2-gallon jugs. They're not completely full, just filled with as much shampoo as I need for Coco at the moment. I really like to, at the end, turn on that conditioner setting and just get a good rinse throughout her hair because she has so much of it. And if I use conditioner, it'll help the owners at home brush a little bit better because they don't bathe her at home. So the more conditioner you use, the easier it is to keep up with brushing at home because you're going to have less matting. Imagine if we didn't condition our own hair, how dry and brittle our hair would feel after brushing. It would just cause a lot of breakage. Coco is one of my favorite clients because she really just doesn't give me a problem for anything. You'll see later that she doesn't like to keep her head still for me to fix her bangs, but that's really the only complaint that I have. She stands up when I need her to, and she's just an overall good girl. Here I'm just squeezing out the rest of the water out of her before I start towel drying. I towel dry her for a good minute. Since she's so thick, I have to get all of that excess water out before I start blow drying. blow dryer that I like to use, I believe it's called the Beast, and it's the super high powered blow dryer. I don't remember the brand exactly, but it saves so much time with blow drying, especially those thick coats. I use it on doodles a lot, or any large breed of dog with a lot of hair. It helps with de-sheds, and it is how I'm able to get Coco done in about an hour and a half, even with this much hair. With dogs with as much hair as Coco has, I like to Dremel their nails first because when the hair is wet, it's less likely to wrap around the Dremel. I've done it quite a few times with her hair being dry, so I just decided to not take any more chances and just do it while it's wet, if I can remember. I'm just going to clean her ears out real quick just to soak up the rest of that water that might be in them. And as always, I'm going to use a happy hoodie to protect from the high powered blow dryer, and also just to soak up the rest of the water that might be on her head and her ears. Saves just a little bit of time. I remember when I started grooming and I would try and blow dry coats that had a lot of hair, I was always dealing with the problem of the hair just getting really knotted. And I've just realized you have to hold the blow dryer a good bit of distance far away so that the hair it blows just outward just enough to where it doesn't wrap around itself. And I know you can't see on this side, but what I'm doing is I'm just holding the blow dryer with one hand and then using my dematter, or my splitter, mat splitter, to break up those tiny mats. She doesn't have very many, but there's just a couple that are spread around her entire body, which with this much hair, I'm not that mad at. She does wear a harness and a collar occasionally when she goes out for walks, so I can understand being the owner. She can't keep up with all of them, but it really is no trouble for me to get those out super quickly with my mat splitter, my slicker brush, and my comb. When you're blow drying coat like this, it's always best to start and just blow dry section at a time. Like on Coco, I started at her front leg, then I worked my way on her body and then towards her back leg. And then after I'm done with that, I'll just work my way back to the front left, and then I'll end up ending on her back end. So sometimes I'll take a towel and I'll use it to block water blowing off from the section that I'm working on to a section that is already dry, just because I don't want to just be aimlessly blow drying and just throwing water on parts that I have already dried, because it'll just take that much longer to dry her with this much hair. As you can see right here, I slowed down the video real quick so you can see me trying to pick out one of these mats. And that is in the area where her harness sits, right up there on the back of her neck, where her hair is just the thickest. And you'll see one that I get right there. If you just work at it slowly, it's not going to hurt her. She doesn't yelp or scream. If you just pick at it, pat at it gently, you can end up working its way out.
Also, if the matting is really bad, I suggest starting with using like a demat spray. I know I've used the Quicker Slicker from Nature Specialties. I've used the Demat Pro, I believe it's called, from Envirogroom. And if you just spray some of that on after the bath and just brush it through their hair really well, with even some really severely matted tails, I've been able to brush them out before. So I'll always try and demat depending on the severity. Now, if it's a completely encased tail and it's just wrapped with hair and it's just like a solid cast, I'm not going to try and brush that out. But if there are a few chunks here and there, I'll take the little bit of extra time just to work it out if I know that I can get it and that I'm not hurting the dog. I'll always do what's best for the dog. You know, I'm not going to save something that I know I can't save.
I really love when Coco comes in because it's so satisfying just being able to see all that crinkly hair turn into just really soft, fluffy hair. And once you see after she's dry, she just looks like a little teddy bear.
I've been super tempted to ask Coco's mom if I can cut her body down short and just give her a cute lamb cut with those super long legs. But I don't know if she'd ever let me do it. Maybe one day I can convince her to let me when she's tired of brushing.
There's a couple little spots in her chest that I have to get out, and this is just what she likes to do. And she just lays down and lets me blow dry her face. And I can't really complain about it. She just sits there. She kind of moves back and forth a little bit, but it's not too bad. And I do notice that there are a couple of big knots underneath her chin and underneath her ear, like that big one right there. You'll see. I'll try and get it out in just a minute.
If you are a professional groomer, I highly recommend getting a mat splitter like the one I have. I can also link that down below if you're interested. It helps breaking up the mats super easy and super fast, but I have cut myself before. So if you're not a professional groomer, don't get one.
So unless you've got a little bit of experience, I wouldn't suggest getting one because they are super sharp. Yeah, I just gently pick at it and you can see little chunks starting to fly off, especially when I grab that slicker brush, you'll see it fly in the bottom right corner. And she's just being a super good girl, just let me brush those out. And after I blow dry her, I take this type of flicker brush. I got it off of Amazon. I can link that down below if you guys are interested. I take this one back over and it just grabs the hair really well and fluffs it out really nice. Which that pink one, it doesn't grab the hair as well. So I like to use this orange one if I'm back brushing or going over a coat. You see how smooth her head looks now compared to that other side? And the more I use this orange brush, it helps loosen up the bristles a little bit so it doesn't grab as much. I've noticed with a few types of slicker brushes, the first few uses, they're just really hard and it's not very smooth to go through the hair. Once you break it in, it doesn't seem to pull very much and it just fluffs out really well. And then I'm just going to start on her sanitary. I use my wall bravuras on the shortest setting. Oh, the longest setting actually, to do her butt and under her belly. And leave a space just big enough to where when she poops, she doesn't get it on herself. And then I cut it out here because my head's in the way, but her vulva, there's a lot of matting right around there, so I just cut that out really quickly. And then I'm going to start on her paw pads, which you can't really see me do either. When you have feet that are this long, you really want to pull that top layer of hair up and just scissor, with your scissors being on the table, and just barely take off, just so it's not touching the ground when she walks. Then I'm just going to comb everything down and just pretty much do the same thing over and over again from each angle, just to make sure I get everything that's touching the table off so she doesn't drag anything in with her from outside, even though it's going to be kind of hard since she's got so much hair. But this is how her mom likes it. And I'm just going to do the same thing to each foot. Just keep combing down, keep trimming, making sure everything's even and round. Coco, stop.
So now that she is all brushed and her feet are trimmed and everything else is ready, she just likes to lay down while I pull her bangs up. And I just kind of find a little spot on the top of her head where I start parting her hair. And I'll just pull that down to her eye corners. Her bangs are finally long enough to where we can pull them up into her top knot. So the only thing I trim on her face are her eye corners and her muzzle. I'm just going to part her hair and pull it up just that little bit right there and see all that short hair that we've been growing out. Just going to try and get her to stay still. And what I use to hold up her hair are just little black elastics. Her mom has a whole pack of hair bows she uses at home because I'm sure these don't last very long. This is just for her finished groom look. But that back part I'll pull up by itself. And now since her bangs are long enough, I'm able to pull those up in another tiny elastic and just hold them together with a cute bow. I'm still not the best at parting and putting up hair because she's literally the only dog client I have that has this much hair. I tried braiding her hair last time and it took me like an extra 15 minutes. So we're just going to keep it simple this time. And I actually messed it up, so I had to redo it. When I was trimming, I pulled in a hair that was already pulled up, so I had to redo it. So those two little ponytails that I have there, I'm just going to pull them both together with that watermelon bow and just comb through her beard to make sure she doesn't have any extra tangles. And it looks pretty good, so I'm not really going to trim off anything of that today. Yep. Going to make sure that's where I want it placed and just pull both of those together. And that's pretty much all that I do for Coco. She just comes in to get a bath, brush out, and sanitary trim every 2 weeks to keep up this look. And it seems to be working for me and her owner, so that's all I can ask for. And here's Coco's finished look. I'm just going to brush through one more time. And here is Coco all fluffed out and ready to go home.